Welcome to the podcast, my man.
Thanks.
For those that don't know, me and TJ met in a mastermind group, and with a bunch of like-minded entrepreneurs. We all are pretty much. I mean, I've talked before about the benefits that I get out of this mastermind group. I've had a couple people on there from the group as well. So this is TJ. Welcome, TJ, and
Thank you.
yeah, we'll jump right into it. Tell me a little bit about yourself, and a little bit about your background.
So, I grew up in Kansas, a little tiny town in southeast Kansas. Moved around a little bit. At about 19 years old, I joined the army. I was on juvenile diversion for a while, so it took me a while. I would have left right after high school, but I had to finish that whole.
You have to wait till you're 18.
So I got in some trouble when I was 17, and I was on juvenile diversion, which is pretty much probation for minors. But it took us so long to pay everything back and do everything that I didn't get off diversion until I think I was 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, the day I was off, my diversion officer gives me a call and she's like, "Hey, you're done." I packed everything up. I had a little work truck, packed everything up in the truck, drove straight to the recruiter's office and was like, "Hey, I'm ready to go right now." So still took a little bit, but left for the Army, got stationed up in Fort Lewis, Tacoma in 2nd Ranger Battalion, and did my time there. Got out in 2012. I started security contracting. That ended last year, almost 1 year ago. And then from there, started getting into real estate, started a business called Whoopee Hoodie. Just bought our 3rd house, and things are going pretty good right now.
Nice. That's what I love about this group is, like, I had Nick Lamagna on. I wanted him on for jiu-jitsu, and then he's a real estate investor. And it's so great that everybody has so many different things going on. Like,
Absolutely.
I bring somebody on because I think, they can bring some kind of value, and then they just blow my mind. And, like, you have a company, you're military, there's so many check marks, real estate investor. So we can get to all of them. But what was your experience like in the military? I know everybody has a lot of opinions, whether they like it or whether it benefited them, or what was your personal, what did you get out of it?
I loved it. It's something that I always wanted to do my whole entire life. There was no doubt in my mind that that's what I wanted to do. And like I said, as soon as I got the opportunity to leave, I was down there. I was ready to go. Did 7 deployments, been to Iraq and Afghanistan both. And I had a blast. I enjoyed all of it. Obviously, it's very hard. It's very difficult, but the amount of growing that you did, and this isn't something I realized immediately. I didn't realize this at the time, like, no, this was happening. But the amount of growing that happened, and, like, looking back now and reflecting on everything that you go through and you see these changes, and I still do the same stuff today. I've been posting videos in our group, and, some of the things that I learned back then, I've carried over with me just to day-to-day life because it's so beneficial. And you learn that, you're not made of glass. You're a lot tougher than what you think. You can go a lot farther than what you think. You can push yourself a lot harder than what you think. And you get through all this stuff, and then looking back, you just come out with a confidence. It's not necessarily an arrogance, but it's just this confidence of, I know I can do that. There's no doubt in my mind. I know I can outthink, I can outwork. You're just comfortable with who you are after that. So I would say overall it was a very great experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I mean, there's good times, there's bad times, there's ups and there's downs, but I would say overall it was very positive and very good for character development and growth.
So when you went in there at 19, you said you had some, juvenile problems, whatever. We won't get into that one. But did you go in there thinking, hey, this is going to help me, or I'm going to go in there being a badass, or what was your mentality going in?
Man, I was humble. I didn't know what to expect. I went in there like a sponge, just trying to soak up as much as I could and learn as much as I could. And try to keep my mouth shut, do what you're told. And what's great about it is that if you don't know what to do, just do what everyone else is doing, and it makes your whole time in the military so much easier. Like you're never lost unless you're just like, you're sticking out. And if you start sticking out, it's just like, well, what's everyone doing around me? Make that happen, and you're good to go. So
So how many of those lessons do you apply now to like your business, to your family life, being a dad? I think the transition's got to be pretty close.
Yeah. So like I said, it's almost daily. One of the things that I still do, and I talked about this previously, was these little mantras we have, these little sayings that we have. And one of the things I always told myself is, you have time to do it right, you don't have time to do it twice. And it didn't matter what I was doing. I don't even know where I heard that or where I picked it up or if I made it up or what, but I always kept that in the back of my mind. So as I was doing these things, these trainings and these selections or whatever it may be, I would just tell myself, hey, take the time to get it done correctly, do it right, because you don't want to have to come back and do this thing twice. Because it sucks. There's no way around it. It's meant to suck, and they want to make it suck as much as possible. So you just get it done right. Stay focused on what you're doing, and you're there and you're present. And it doesn't matter how tired you are, cold, wet, hungry, or tired. You're just focused on what you're doing to execute it correctly, be done with it, and then you can move on. And all of that carries over into business, being a dad, being a husband. We got so many irons in the fire right now with, the houses, the rentals, the business that we're running. We got twin boys. So that in itself is, that's insane right there, just taking care of twin boys. And
that's funny. So, all your accomplishments, you get studied at like, I got twin boys.
That's definitely the big one.
Yeah.
So, all this stuff carries over, and it's something that I still tell myself to this day, and I'll say it to her, like, we're rushed trying to get out of the house or working on the business or whatever it is, and it's like, okay, hang on, slow down, let's get this done right, because I don't want to have to come back. I don't want to have to start this project over tomorrow. Let's get it done right. Let's not do it twice.
Yeah. What he referenced here was when our mastermind group, you left one video in there. And I know not everybody's made for videos. It took me a long time to kind of get out there.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who runs our mastermind, Mark Evans, DM, he's always saying, just get your voice out there, do a one and done. Don't edit it 15 times. And when you posted something, I think maybe last week for the first time, I know it impacted me, and Fraser commented. I think what people relate to are the stories. If I just said, hey, go paint a house, and I've never painted a house and I don't have to tell a story about it, people are like, that for me, that's how I kind of relate to things too. Is like, oh, TJ's got a great story, or a great message, but he has a great story that backs up that message and how he got to that conclusion. And you've been dropping those nuggets in there repeatedly, and I love them. I can't tell you much.
Thank you.
Everybody has their different ways of social media and this and that. And for you, the way Fraser does it, Mike Follett, I really connect to that kind of delivery. So kudos to you. And you might make you uncomfortable, I'm not sure, but you look natural on doing it, and the messages are really hitting home. And so keep doing them. I love them.
Good. Yeah, it's definitely new to me. I'm not used to talking on camera. It's never been anything I wanted to do or thought that I was going to be doing. So it's new to me, but starting to enjoy it. I feel like I'm starting to get a grasp on it, and I don't think I've shot a single video that's been one and done yet. I think on one of them is like my third one. I was like, all right, take 22. I hope we get it this time.
Yeah. But when I try to do the one and done. I cuss a little bit too much for social, I think. So I try to like edit that stuff out, But I just try to do the one and done, and it gets easier, I think. But definitely keep sending out that message. It's great.
Yeah, it sounds weird when you're trying to not cuss on camera, because I'm the same way. Cuss all the time, and like you're trying to find a different word. All right, I lost it. Cut. Start over. Yeah.
What I've been doing lately is I'll do the Instagram or like a video, and then I'll put it into my live feed, and then I forget I cuss, and then I'm doing the captions on there. I'm just trying to mimic what the guy like Mark is doing and like some of the
Yeah,
other
yeah,
people I follow. I'm trying to just say, hey, you know what? I'm not reinventing the wheel. So I put those captions on there, and then Instagram
absolutely.
beep, it blocks me out. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot I threw a little bomb in there. But
Oh, yep, did that.
yeah, it's a learning curve, right? We're all learning it. It's interesting, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think when I started the mastermind group, I had other projects going on, and then I started doing this mastermind for my own thing, Savage Syndicate, and
Hmm.
it just I before the Savage Syndicate one, I was like, all right, start a service business or a product business, one that I don't have to create content all the time, one I don't have to be on camera, one I don't have to keep social media update. And now I'm
Absolutely.
exact opposite. Like this Savage Syndicate thing that I'm building, I'm
Yeah.
constantly having to put I totally did a 180 from what I didn't want.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, oh shit, I got to get content. I got to get jujitsu films. I got to get boxing. I'm like, I'm running all over with chicken cut with my head cut off, and it's like, yeah, it's good, busy work, but it's just something I didn't think I would be doing. And I think this podcast helped too. It's just like, fuck,
Yeah.
if people don't listen to it, at least I'm having fun. I'm meeting great people and sharing stories. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I think sometimes we're a little hard on ourselves about, is my message clear, or are people going to look at me funny,
Yeah.
or is my background okay? And
Exactly. Yeah. You're constantly wondering, like, I mean, the internet can be a beautiful place. It can be a crazy, terrible place too. And I think it goes like the same thing with like, the people you're surrounding yourself in your day to day life. Is it the people that you're trying to talk to and communicate with online? And when you get the right people, it's nothing but positive feedback, and they're helping, they're coaching, they're encouraging, and then yeah, you can. There's also the ugly side of the internet, which is it's just a fact of it. There's an ugly side of life too, and it's up to you what you want to choose to be on and which path you want to go down.
yeah, and that's the thing too. If you go down that rabbit hole, because I have a clothing line, and when I read some of
Hmm.
the comments, I'm like, I want to. My initial
Yeah,
thought is to go in after them and be keyboard warrior, and it's like, why? If they're
yeah.
talking about you in the negative way, well then, hey, at least they're talking about you, right?
They're
But,
still
but I had to
talking.
learn that.
Yeah,
I had to learn that the hard way and like ease back and like, all right,
yeah,
it's not personal to me. They're going to be pissed at the next 15 companies they go to. It doesn't matter about me. But
yeah. I know, right?
but segue into like surrounding yourself with great people. How did you find the mastermind that we're in with Mark Evans?
Oh, that's a great question. Great story with that. So, my wife was following Sean Whalen and the Lions Not Sheep crew, and when Sean opened up the Lions Den, she's like, "Babe, we got to get in. We got to get in." So, uh, we joined that, and we were in it for a while, and they just did the Lions Den live this year. So last year we went down to that one. That was my first mastermind group. I kind of knew of the mastermind concept, and it was always for me, one of these days I'm going to build this mastermind group of, you know, like-minded individuals, and we're all going to be working on this and get together and whatever. And I didn't realize that that's what these things were. I always thought it was like, I'm not joining your self-help group. I'm not going to go talk about my feelings and all this. And then once we went down there, it was, I mean, Lions Den Live was powerful. And I think this year it was even bigger. I mean, you walk in and like you feel that electricity in there, and people are just so pumped to be there. So we finished that up, and that was the first time I heard Mark speak. I didn't know who Ed Milet was. I didn't know Ryan Stewman. I didn't know any of these people. It wasn't in my bubble. It wasn't in my sphere of influence. And seeing all these people talk and the stuff that they were talking about just totally opened up my eyes to a whole new side of things. So I immediately follow them. I started buying all their books. I started reading as much as I could from these guys, and started following Mark. And I liked what Mark was talking about, what he was doing. I was listening to his podcast all the time. And next thing I knew, like my goal was to get in there, and because he has two groups, and I was going to try to join the other one, but I was I was a couple years out. With everything going perfect, I was a couple years out from joining that one. And he posted that thing, if I started another mastermind group, would you be interested in joining? Immediately, I'm like, yes, I'm in. So I wanted to be a part of it, and yeah, it started, and it has been absolutely great. Just having having that collection of minds, Napoleon Hill talks about it in his books, like Think and Grow Rich and all that. Just having a collection of minds that are all focused on one goal. And it doesn't have to be the exact same goal of, breaking it down so micro that it's like, buying a house or an apartment complex, like we're all working to buy the same house or anything like that. But just having all these minds that are focused on success. And it doesn't matter, success in the family, success as a father, parent, success in business, just overall success in life, however you define that. And then just having a group of people behind you, like, yes, go do this. Like, we will hold you accountable. We will challenge you. We will push you and encourage you. And it just, it's like it's that compounding interest effect, You're doing it and you're times one, but when you have 77 people cheering you on, well, now you're 77x on everything you're doing. So it's definitely very, very incredible and very powerful.
That's exactly what you just said is how I got into it. I saw Sean Whalen, got in his group, and I was at that first Lions Den. Well, not the first one for him, but the first one for me was last year in Utah.
We missed each other. Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird, right? Now our paths are crossing, but we did the same thing. My wife was like, "Well, what are we doing? Like you said, are we gonna open up about our feelings?" I'm like, "No, I think we just, business and push." And she went with me, and it was really eye opening. I still have the book right here of all the notes I took. Like, you go outside and write down what you want to be and I took a lot out of it. I could have sat there. His message is kind of brutal. Like, he yells a lot and, fucking get your house in order. And, but out of that, like you said, I met Mark, after he spoke. I met him outside, and just said, what? Fuck it. I was going to go piss. And I saw him. I'm like, he's by himself sitting over there. Hey, Mark. And I talked to him. Super nice guy, super approachable. And then my wife came out. We started talking about some money stuff and financing and this and that. But out of Sean and then Stuman, I didn't meet Stuman, but I love the, how you just gravitate toward people that you just kind of, his message when he got up there and it was in an old church or something, he's like, I guess you can call me Pastor Motherfucking Ryan. I'm like, I like this guy right here. And same thing with Milet.
Right from the get-go,
Yeah, and all those guys. Ed Milet actually lives in Laguna down the way here. But just the message, everything, and being around like-minded people. I'm no longer part of the Lions Den because it was just kind of a, yelling and stuff. But it wasn't for me. I'm not knocking it at all. But I got Mark Evans out of that. And then, like you said, I went in the group and, I can't praise it enough. And I'm not telling people to join or do whatever. But for me, Masterminds, I've been in a couple, this is the first big one where actually people were responsive. Like you said, they're all, at first I was kind of hesitant to put stuff in there because I'm not at the level of a lot of those guys are.
Same.
And they just all reach out and they're like, hey, let's get on a call. Let's talk. How can I help you? And this and that. I'm like, holy shit. And I've done a couple of posts about this. I'm like, I'm not used to people putting their hand out and say, how can I help you? What do you need? Do you need a call? Do you need this? And I'm like, holy shit. Like, this is kind of weird and new and foreign to me because I've always put my head down and done it my own. And, I've had all those obstacles and hurdles that we all have. But to have like these high level guys at our, attainable to us, like a phone call, a text, and everything, and they're all super responsive. I mean, we've talked offline before too, and I appreciate that. Like, it's just awesome to get around like-minded people, and then, like I said, they're at higher levels, so it's like shit. Like Mark says, if I'm out here having a beer with my buddies, I'm the king dipshit, right? Because they're all doing the same shit every day, and it's like, hey. I think Denzel Washington said the same thing. If you hang around with 5 knuckleheads, well, you're the 6th knucklehead. So, I'm just putting in many groups as I can that I'm the lowest total, on the bottom. And just, fuck, I can only progress from there, right? And so I think, I love it. And I'm trying to look into getting I want to get in Stuman's Apex. You there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it froze for a second, but I'm still here.
Yeah, I'm looking. I talked to a lot of those guys, like Dustin Johnson that I met at Lions Not Sheep. We still go back and forth, and I know he's part of the Apex thing. But if all of them are as good as Mark's, then I'm going to sign up for a couple more this time next year for sure.
Yeah, well, that Lions Den Live when we were there, got my wife to do 75 hard. Sierra, she's big in the Lions Den. She got her to commit to 75 hard. My wife's done it twice now. She's been killing it. She just finished her second time of 75 hard. I stopped drinking because just seeing how they were hitting all these, like, I mean, they were setting massive goals, these guys, and they tell you where they started from too, which is very incredible. And then they set these massive goals, and they're still working on their goals. I think generally everyone would qualify them as successful. Like, hey, you did it, you know. But they're like, no, I'm not even close to done yet.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that's so powerful to me is they set these massive goals and they work towards it. And they're like, well, here's how I had to do that. And just realizing that I was in my own way for a lot of this stuff. So after that, you know, I went out and I partied one night and I woke up the next morning and I was all hungover and I was like, this is dumb. Like, listening to these guys talk and the massive things they're doing, and they're laying it out. Here's how I did it.
Yeah.
And I'm over here. It's 9-10 o'clock in the morning, and I'm waking up hungover. Like, I'm never gonna get this done. So I was like, all right, screw it. You know, I'm done with all that shit. This is where I'm going now, and just literally just chose a new direction. And yeah, this last year has been insane with the growth and the people we've met and what I've accomplished. And yeah, I don't know. There's definitely something to it, and it's no lie. It's not pseudoscience or anything. I mean, like I said, Napoleon Hill talks about it. It's been written about. It's been studied. You see it in action when you go to these things, and you can't deny it. It's powerful. I recommend it for everyone. Find the one that works best for you and run with it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Kudos to your wife doing the 75 hard.
I know, right?
How are you doing on the challenge? We're in that mastermind group. We have a fitness, I'd say, legend already, and he brought out a plan. 52 days, I think we started until this event next week. But how are you doing on it? You kicking ass?
Doing good. I'm sticking with it. I was, like I said, I was kind of paralleling that thing anyways. I was doing a lot of it, and I looked at what he had written, and at first I was like, man, I can't do all this on top of what I'm doing. And then I was like, I'll just shift it around a little bit. I made it all work, and yeah, it's been going great, sticking with it and feeling great. I feel amazing. There's definitely something to that too. Just the change of the diet, the workouts have gotten 10 times better just because I changed the diet. And yeah. So Frazier, if you watch this, thank you.
Yeah, for me the hardest part, because I was lifting already too, and jiu-jitsu and all that, but the nutrition was the biggest part. So I have notes all over the place. I have notes downstairs where my protein is like, and I've seen a huge difference too. For like, you know, for me, I hold it around my midsection in here, and I think I started the thing 220, and now I'm doing it down to 208. To me, the nutrition was the biggest part, and and to him, another promotion of Mastermind. I ask him questions all the time, and when he did that video about him working out, he did an hour or whatever. Huge benefit, because actually, I'll tell you the truth. The first day, and Frazier, if you're listening, don't hate me. I was like, this isn't enough. I need to do more. So I went back to my old routine because I didn't feel like I'd gotten enough. And so on the second day, I'm like, well, I'm just going to do mine. I'll work on the nutrition part, but the fitness, I think I got down. And then when he brought that to my, he did that video, and I
the rest pauses
more times. That really ironed it out for me, and now I've been sticking to it ever since, like super hard. And I can feel them, the difference. And I feel it in jiu-jitsu when I'm rolling with guys. I'm like, okay, because I'm 47. I'm probably, I always judge myself as like, okay, I'm 47. Can I kick my ass when I was 25? Can the version of me now kick my ass back then?
Yeah.
And, the old man person pride says, hell yeah, I can kick my ass, but who knows? But that's how I judge my strength and my physicality. But
it's definitely, that diet switch definitely made a huge difference because, are you lifting and doing jiu-jitsu?
Yeah. So I lift all the days that were, 5 or 6 days. But what was killing me was the walking, the 14,000 steps. So I upped the level, and he said, man, if you want to burn fat, do the 14,000 steps or 14 to 20, whatever, every day. He goes, you'll be, it'll fall off. And I was doing the steps. We have a treadmill downstairs, And then I was going to jiu-jitsu and I was still lifting. And I'm like, my man, I'm dying. He's like, dude, you're going to kill yourself. You're older. Don't do that. He goes, the days you do jiu-jitsu,
You're doing too much.
yeah. He's like, don't try to get your steps in. You know, obviously jiu-jitsu is going to be your cardio burn because I was burning at both ends and I'd go to sleep. Well, I couldn't even go to sleep. I was just sitting there like, oh, I was all beat up. So yeah, and that's one of the things I asked him. I was texting him and calling him and going back and forth, and he said, "Yeah, just at your age, your joints are gonna freaking fall off if you keep doing jujitsu, walking. I surf a lot. I have a 9-year-old kid. We're always active. So it's a hard thing for me anyway. Is I always like my kid's running around or he's doing this or he wants to roll or he wants to fight or he wants to surf. I'm like, I got to keep up. I can't tap out, right? I can't. I can't say. I never want to say I'm too tired to do that, or I can't throw the football because my shoulder's sore. In my mind,
that example.
Yeah, if I want to show him that I can do it. I don't want to tell him like, oh, when I was 21, I used to be able to throw the football over them. No, I still at 47 want to get off my ass and say, hey, you want to skateboard? I might kill myself. I might die doing it, but I'm always going to be the dad. And I want to be the dad who says, okay, son, you want to throw the football? Let's go. You want to surf?
Yeah.
Surf. You want to go climb that mountain? Let's go climb that mountain. And the day that I can't do that, just because I'm lazy or fat or whatever, then freaking put a bullet in me because I'll be dead, right? So, that's the mentality I take towards everything. Is just freaking. And I tell people too in my jiu-jitsu is like, hey, they're like, holy shit, you're strong as shit. I thought you were gonna tap. I'm like, I'm more stubborn than I am good. I just I don't want to, I don't want to tap. Like the other day, I actually made a post about this. My my coach, professor, whatever you want to call him, he was tying me up, and I knew it was coming, but I'm like, I can hold on, and he was cranking on my neck, and I literally at a moment I was like, my neck is gonna snap here, and then I started gurgling and shit, and I tapped, and then the next time he did it again, almost the same damn move. My dumb ass didn't figure it out, so I came home that day and I was like, I'm getting ready to go because I train at night, so I got in bed and I'm like, I'm gonna be sore. Oh, and he also cracked the shit out of my back, giving me a free adjustment. So I'm like, I'm gonna be sore as shit.
That's nice.
I was sore, but if I'm not sore in some way, shape, or form, whether it's working out or jiu-jitsu, then I kind of look at myself and I'm like, man, you didn't really push it the day before, the 2 days before, whatever the case may be. So
I was just talking to my nephew about this. Like, you'll start doing these workouts, like you're lifting and doing jiu-jitsu and like, okay, it's easy. You're not really making any gains. Then you might do something different. Like we went on a ruck march this morning. And I was like, you're working your muscles out differently, and it's a different kind of strain, and you're going to find a new soreness. And I was like, that's telling you something. You need to start doing that because you found a weakness. So I'm always just kind of like searching out, like, been lifting traditionally for a while, so I'll switch it up and start doing kettlebells and doing jiu-jitsu, and like, okay, this is getting easy. So now I'm going to start throwing a backpack on and walking up and down the hills and all that, and just always finding something new just to make it a little bit harder and a little bit better. And you can always circle back around once you haven't like lifted traditionally for a while, or you haven't done any powerlifting in a while, circle back around and start adding that stuff in, and you're just constantly pushing yourself and testing yourself. And I love the philosophy with your kid too. Like, I want to be the dad that's out there doing everything, because that's my goal. We take our kids, like when we go to the gym, they go to the gym with us and go to the daycare. So, and we tell them like, hey, we're going to the gym. And I mean, they're a little over 2 years old, but they're getting this instilled in their head that every day they expect to go to the gym. If they don't go to the gym, they know we're going on a walk. They wake up and they see us reading books in the morning, like no TV, we're going to read books, and just constantly setting that example for them. So as they're growing up, they don't even second guess it. They're just like, yeah, we get up and we read a book and then we go to the gym. Like, I thought that's what everyone did, just beating it into them. So yeah, there's no question when they get older.
Is that how you were raised, or did the military put that in there? Because I know for me, I played soccer, football, and did athletic stuff, but my parents weren't the ones. I mean, they didn't go to the gym. They weren't the health specimens and stuff. But so I do that because I know if I lay on my ass, what's going to happen? I'm going to be not in the best, whatever. But I did that because of the way I grew up. It wasn't instilled in me. So how did you get that put into your brain in such a strong way?
Yeah. I I stumbled on it. I I don't know where it started exactly, but so I always worked out. That was never an issue for me. I wrestled in high school, so I enjoyed being in shape. I never stopped. Like once I started, because went from high school wrestling and all that weight class, and right into the military. You do PT every day. Got out, and it was just that part I didn't have an issue with. But the reading and the personal growth and development that I just kind of stumbled on. I had a friend that I was working with, and I'm probably going to butcher this story, but generally how it happened was we were sitting around talking, and he's like, "Yeah, I just decided I wanted to be smart one day, so I said I was going to read 100 pages of a book a day." And I mean, this was 20 some years ago. He decided this, and the dude he's incredibly smart now. I mean, he's like, "I was not like this. I decided that's what I wanted to do, and so I just started reading every day." And the wheels started turning. I was like, "Oh yeah, it's kind of like working out." I decided I want to get into shape, so I just started working out. And then you get in great shape. You lose your weight. You're feeling better and all this, and it clicked for me right then. I was like, "Oh, it's that easy." You pick what you want and go for it. And this dude decided he wanted to be smart, and just started reading every book he could get, and yeah, it worked.
Yeah. It's amazing once you put your head down and just say, fuck it, I'm going to charge it. What happens, right?
Yeah, it was just all these little seeds that got planted throughout my life, and just I've sat down recently and just started reflecting back and looking at everything. It's like, oh, okay, that's where I learned this. Like, I do this because of this one time back here where this person said this, and it just all kind of stuck with me, and now it's all growing.
Yeah. How old are you?
36.
Oh, yeah, so you're young. I'm old. So all these lessons start coming to me because I'm old now. But you sound like wise ahead of your age there.
I hope so.
So you're I got a truck coming over. You're part of the Savage Syndicate, and thank you for that. I'm trying
Thanks
to
for inviting me.
Yeah, I'm trying to get this thing up and running because you're one of the people that I wanted on there as a contributor because of your knowledge and your experience. What do you think of people that? I mean, the whole point of Savage Syndicate is to get the average person to learn how to protect themselves and their families. What do you think? How do you think the importance is for the average person to get off their ass and start training, start learning how to shoot, start learning how to protect themselves, especially with this day and age of how crazy the world is right now?
I think it's crucial. It's imperative. I think I would say as Americans as a whole, kind of live in a bubble, and we're very fortunate. We live in the greatest country ever created, and I think it's up to us to hold on to it. But when you start branching out and you start going to these other countries and seeing these other places, you realize how fortunate you really are. That you got a house, you got food, you got clothes, you have 911, you have the Second Amendment, and all these things are forms of security. And we have so much security, like just knowing that you have a coat to put on when it gets cold. That's a layer of security for your life. And we've become so reliant on running to the store, or somebody else is going to step in and protect me if something goes wrong, or you're expecting it. It could be a bouncer at a bar if you're out grabbing drinks with your wife. Oh, well, there's a bouncer, nothing's going to happen to me. Or I'm walking to the car, it wouldn't happen to me because there's cops all over. But if you look at how the majority of this stuff shakes out, the cops show up afterwards. The bouncers are there every night. They don't want to go out and get into fights every night. They're going to do everything they can to not have to get into an altercation. And it's only after the altercation starts that they'll come over there and like, okay, break it up, you guys. And yeah, so it's 100% on the individual to know this stuff, to do this stuff. And when you need it is not the time to learn it. We were kind of joking back and forth in there, but that whole, when it happens, I'll just see red and I'll handle it. Well, 9 times out of 10, no, you won't. Like you got targeted specifically because you look like a victim. You know, they picked you because you look like a victim. They didn't pick the big guy who's muscly and covered in tattoos and, you know, staring everybody right in the eye. He's not the primary target. The primary target is the weaker looking person who's afraid to make eye contact. And it's kind of like it goes back to how animals work. You know, naturally we're predators. Our eyes are in front of us. You know, we're always looking forward. Prey, they have their eyes on the side of the head. And if you're looking down and you're afraid to make eye contact, it's instinctual. They know you're not a predator. And so just by learning this stuff and building this confidence up and being able to defend yourself, and it doesn't even have to be able to defend yourself, being able to identify something before you have to defend yourself. You know, you can identify some shady people. You can identify a dark alley that you shouldn't walk down. And, you know, just being able to avoid this and not constantly assume that you're going to be okay because we live in this great country. You know, it's definitely not like this when you leave and go to other countries, you know, third world countries anywhere. Yeah, it's not like this. We're very fortunate to live here.
Yeah. Do you do any training now, like jiu-jitsu or any kind of martial arts or anything?
Yeah, so doing jiu-jitsu, obviously we talked about working out, do that all the time, hit jiu-jitsu at least 4 times a week. Generally, that's my rule, is 4 times a week. Still shoot, still do other little training events here and there, like even medical training. We've set up a couple little classes up here with just, you know, some local friends who want to learn more, and, you know, here's how you stop a bleed. And it's kind of crazy to me. This is all like basic stuff that everyone should know. Like, you should know CPR, you should know how to put a tourniquet on, you should know when to put a tourniquet on. You know, just how to help people that are injured, you know, how to de-escalate a situation and not let your ego or your pride get in the way and it makes you escalate a situation. But just being able to de-escalate, and then if something happens, like, know what you're looking at and know how to help. And it's just crazy to me that this isn't like normal. Like, why is it not taught in school? How come every middle schooler isn't proficient in CPR and rescue breathing and being a first responder, the Heimlich maneuver? And you can go, I don't know, there's probably schools out there. I know my school didn't have it, but like, you can go all the way through and graduate high school and you don't know how credit cards work. You don't know basic first aid. You don't know how to defend yourself. Like, this is just life, you know? Like, that's all it is. Like, it's life. You're not always going to be okay. You're not always going to be safe. You're not always going to be taken care of. You need to learn this stuff, and you don't get it in your formal education.
Yeah. That's why we homeschool our son, but he goes to a campus where we hire the teachers that we want. And we teach him economics, stuff that I wasn't taught as a kid. Economics, public speaking, self-defense. My kid's been rolling some way, whether it's Krav or jiu-jitsu, since he was 3.
That's awesome.
I think we're on the same page with what we need to teach our kids, because right now, I mean, if you look in the world in 2022, it's funky out there and it's scary. But I mean, as a parent, I never want my son to be a victim or bullied. So I'm arming him with all the tools that I can to prevent that, right? I mean, bad shit happens, you know more than anybody, but I'm going to give him the highest. As soon as he walks out that door, I mean, I'm with him all the time at 9, but there's going to be a time when I'm not there and he's going to have a situation. And I would like to think that I've given him enough tools to handle himself in those scary shit situations or whatever's going to happen. But yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people do that, and it sucks. And it's making a world full of pansies out there. And you know,
absolutely. And I mean, that's our job as fathers, is to do that. Like, you teach them, your job is the protector of your family, and you teach them what they need to know so that they can go out there. And, you know, talking about it with my wife, and obviously I hope it doesn't end up like this, but I've told her, like, if our sons are, you know, they're pissed at me when they turn 18 because, you know, we did this stuff all the time. Like, I was always getting them to read. I was always getting them to go to jiu-jitsu or wrestling or kickboxing or Krav. Like, I don't care. Something, you're going to learn self-defense. And if you if they turn 18 and they say, whatever, I'm out of here, I don't ever want to see you again, Dad, and they come back at 26 and they're like, hey, I get it now. You know, I was out over here and this happened and I knew how to handle it because of what you did. Like, mission accomplished. You did it. You know, like, you're a successful parent because your kid came back home because of what you showed them.
Yeah, he came back safe too. He might be mad at you and not happy, but at least he came home safe, right? And I think that's the bigger point. Yeah.
Yep.
There's a lot of people out there, like he's in jiu-jitsu, so we kind of are surrounded by like-minded people. But we meet people at the beach and their kids splash around the water, and my son Kingston becomes friends with them. And just last night, I'm talking to the parents, and it's just his buddy. And I look over, and they're in like knee-deep water, and my son's got him in a chokehold, rear naked. I'm like, my man, don't do that. And he goes, no, we're not. So I had to talk with him in the car. I'm like, you can't do your jiu-jitsu move with your friends that don't roll or don't train because you got a little, you know, you're a little higher degree than him. He goes, but he wanted to. He wanted to see it. I'm like, no, especially in the water. You don't just have to, you know, train smart, right? I never want him to be the bully. I always tell him use it good, not evil. You know, step in if you see somebody getting bullied. But you know, he's 9. Sometimes he gets a little squirrely. And I just turn, I'm like, oh. And his mom and dad were right there. They're like, that was a pretty slick move. I'm like, he knows not to do that on people who don't train, right? You don't want to go out there and say, I'm Superman. I'll watch him kick everybody's ass. So, yeah, it's definitely something I think as dads we need to be more involved in. But you touched on it earlier. You have a company called Whoopee Hoodie. Is that what it is?
Yeah, Whoopee Hoodie.
Tell us about that.
So Whoopee Hoodie is, we took the military poncho liner. It's this really soft, light blanket that they issue you in the military. It's called your Whoopee because you pretty much don't go anywhere without it. You're like a little kid. It's your blanket. Whatever you're doing, like you always pack it in the bottom of your ruck, your assault pack. Like it's always with you, and that's your comfort item. You know, you can always pull it out, wrap up in it, and it's a great piece of gear. And it's like it doesn't matter what's going on, but you pull that thing out and you wrap up in it, and you just feel amazing. So we took it and made it into a hoodie, and we got a bunch of different designs now and all that. But yeah, it's that same piece of equipment, but now you don't have to pull the blanket out. You can just throw your jacket on, zip it up, and you still get that same feeling, you know, of just that comfort in the worst possible situations.
Well, it kind of ties into your social post today in the group where you were talking about dark humor. I mean, some badass, probably the badass men in the world, you guys, calling something a whoopee. And it's like, you wouldn't think these guys in a really bad situation are rolled up in a whoopee. So, not everybody gets to see the post that I saw, but you were talking about dark humor and how it gets you guys through some tough situations. So I think that's great. Whoopee Hoodie. Is it? You have whoopeehoodie.com, or what's the website people can go to?
Yep. Whoopeehoodie.com, WOOBYHOODY.com. And yep, you'll see me on there, and that's it.
Nice. And social media and all that stuff is going on?
Yep. Same thing with Instagram, Whoopee Hoodie. We got a bunch of new products coming out soon, and just getting ready for this next winter.
Where are you? You're in Washington, right?
Idaho, North Idaho.
Idaho. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the weather like right there now?
So, yeah, it's been pretty cold and rainy. We're starting to get some sunshine finally, and yeah, summer should have started a while ago. And still waiting on the heat, but at least we're getting some sunshine. It's in the 60s, so it's still kind of Whoopee Hoodie weather.
Yeah.
Still get to rock it. Yeah.
That's perfect. You get to always advertise if you're in the cold weather, right?
Absolutely.
Have you ever been on the coast and gotten some waves? Do you surf at all? Have you tried it?
Yeah. So my wife she's from Costa Rica. So when I met her, I'd been down to Costa Rica once or twice before, and just did a little bit of surfing. You know, like I just wanted to learn. So I had this time where there was about 4 years where I was just traveling around, like backpacking around. I would pick a new country, fly there, you know, spend a couple weeks, a month there. And Costa Rica was one of the first places I hit. I think it was like my 3rd or 4th country. And I just wanted to go there. I wanted to see the volcanoes, and I wanted to surf. So ended up in Tamarindo, learned how to surf. I had snowboarded a little bit, wakeboarded, all that growing up in Kansas. So surfing, it's definitely awesome. It's fun when I can stand up. That popping up part, I'm still a little uneasy on, but it's getting there. And now pretty much every time we go back, we'll take a couple days and shoot over to Tamarindo again, get an Airbnb, and just spend the day on the beach, go rent a board, and start surfing.
Is that what part of Costa Rica she's from, Tamarindo?
So she's from San Jose, and her family actually lives in Cocoa, which is like just north of Tamarindo. So
Okay.
that's where I met her, was down there, and Tamarindo is like 45 minutes away.
Does she surf?
No,
No.
that was just me.
We've been looking to go to Costa Rica forever. We always go down to Cabo, and
Yeah,
Rindo is where we were looking to go. So that's the only place I know in Costa Rica. But
it's a great place.
yeah, I've heard the surf is really good, right?
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
isn't there a spot called like Witch's Rock or something down there?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think you got to take a boat out to Witch's Rock, and I'm probably gonna screw this up. I'm sure somebody will correct it, but I think it's like a national reserve or something. So you have to find a company that has the right paperwork to actually go in there and surf. And it was one of my buddies used to be able to do that. He was taking guys into Witch's Rock to go surfing, but I don't think he has his surf charter anymore. Otherwise, I would definitely hook you up with that number. I'll tell you what, I'll give it to you anyways, and maybe he knows someone.
All right, cool. Yeah, because like I said, we go to Cabo all the time, but Costa Rica,
Yeah.
a lot of my friends are like, "Don't buy in Cabo until you've at least been to Costa Rica." But COVID happened and all that craziness, so we just ended up moving to Cabo for a bit. But Costa Rica is definitely on the bucket list for sure.
Yeah, it's a great place. I always have a blast down there. Central America was always my go-to spot.
Yeah.
Great food, great people, great locations. Yeah, I always had a blast.
How does your wife adjust from Costa Rica to Idaho?
She loved it. I mean, so right now we're in a spot. I mean, it's beautiful. We got the lake. We got a ski resort. We're surrounded by mountains. We got moose walking down the street in the middle of winter, like wildlife everywhere. We hike all the time now. There's trails anywhere you want to go, out camping with the boys and everything. So there's so much to do. The big thing I was worried about when she first came up here was winter. She had never seen snow before, obviously. And just like talking to her, I was like, look, you have to embrace this. Like, you have to go out. You have to find something that is fun to you in the snow. Otherwise, you're going to be miserable for 6 months out of the year. And so that first year, I took her up on the mountain and taught her how to snowboard. And man, she picked it up quick and started snowboarding. And so after that, it was fine. Like, even when I would leave and go to work, she's like, hey, I'm going to hit the mountain. And she was just up there by herself snowboarding, and she got really good. And yeah, she got really good. And I don't know, she loved it. So
That's awesome. Yeah, because I don't do snow very well. We have some local mountains here that everybody goes to snowboards and stuff, and they're like, "Yeah, you can go in the morning and snowboard in the afternoon." I'm like, "Yeah, I'd rather surf all day than go up to the mountains and all that stuff." And I married a girl from Laguna Beach, so she's a beach girl too. So all of our trips are to either Hawaii, Cabo, or hopefully Costa Rica soon, but anywhere where there's water. And our son's the same way. He just wants to. He's at surf camp right now in Laguna. Just wants to surf and hang out. So we either surf or we go to jiu-jitsu. That's what our daily activities are.
Yep, we're outside and going to jiu-jitsu too. So
yeah, is your wife going to the thing next week?
No, she won't be there. She's staying home with the boys on this one. It was a little short notice for us, so it's just us up here. Her family's down in Costa Rica. My family's still back in Kansas, so it's a little bit more difficult to find somebody to watch the kids and do all that. So this first one's just going to be me.
So you just have the twins? I mean, not just have. That's a lot of work. But you have the twins, or do you have any other kids?
We got a little Boston Terrier named Bamboo.
That's another a lot of work, right? Boston Terrier.
Yeah, he's a Costa Rican dog. So yeah, he had to do some adjusting too when he got up here.
Does he like the snow?
No, he hates it.
He's a true Costa Rican.
Yeah, Yeah, he didn't pick up any winter hobbies. He just ate it.
Does he gain some weight now in the summer? 6 months, he just hangs out in the house.
Yeah, so all winter, yeah, he'll put on some pounds, and then summertime, it's like, all right, buddy, we're going on a walk, and we'll get 3 blocks, and he's trying to lay down, and like, nope, get up, you gotta work off those 2 pounds you gained over winter.
Yeah, you got to keep him strong. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, TJ, thank you, man. I appreciate you taking the time today. It was great talking to you, getting to know you a little bit better. I
thank
will
you.
put the links to Wilby Hoodie. Anything else you want to put on there, your social media or anything, just let me know. But again, I appreciate the talk, and it was great getting to know you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it.
All right, brother. I will see you, I don't know, in a week. What is today? Tuesday? We'll be flying out next Tuesday. So,
You flying out on the 28th?
yeah, we're on the West Coast, so it takes quite a while to get there. And then Wednesday morning, I think we have a meeting in the gym with Frazier.
I'll be there.
So looking forward to seeing you in person. Again, thank you very much, and I'll see you soon, brother.
All right, man. Take care. Bye.
Yeah.